Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to yourplaymat.com where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from yourplaymat.com. What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr Games, and today I am bringing you not only a Dark Magician update, but a Dark Magician God profile. That is right. So there's been a lot of these going around online, but I don't feel that they've actually been Dark Magician God related. They've all just been using a bit of an engine, not really taking into account what Dark Magician can do and how it can utilize Slifer the Sky Dragon or any form of the gods. So with all of that out of the way, I'm going to dive straight into the profile and go through everything as we go. So start off with, of course, Triple Mac Daddy Dark Magician. Now, I've seen a lot of profiles playing 2 Dark Magician, which is completely fine. If you're going for the most consistent, most competitive version, play Dark Magician at 2. If you still, like me, want to feel like you're actually playing a Dark Magician deck and feel it to its core, then Triple Dark Magician is where it's at. Then, of course, the best normal summon of the Dark Magician archetype is, of course, Magician's Rod. Normal summon this, get your Dark Magical Circle or the Soul Servant, and that is going to help you out with your God plays later on down the line. Triple Magician Souls. When are we going to get a reprint, Konami? Hopefully early 2022, and we'll probably get a rarity bump of Magician Souls to a secret, and I would love to see Magician's Rod as a secret rare as well. But we all know how important Magician Souls is. This card has so much utility in the deck, whether it is sending a Dark Magician, whether it is summoning a Dark Magician, or sending a Dark Magician Girl, or summoning the Dark Magician Girl. It can then also be used as a free body on the board, or as draw power by getting rid of the dead spells and traps once you have already resolved certain effects. We're then playing the 1 Apprentice Illusion and the 1 Dark Magician Girl. So I am actually using the combo that I showed the other day, getting into Quintet. Now, it's not massively consistent for that 2.5 card combo because you needed Magician Souls plus Apprentice Illusion. But the combo can still be resolved as long as you have other monsters to play. All you really need to be doing is you do need to be able to get those 5 spell costs to the graveyard, which isn't so difficult if you link up correctly. Also, keep in mind that I am playing Double Jester Conflict just because it is a free level 1 spellcaster summon. So whether that is being used to actually get you for your low rate of going into Verte Dragoon, or if it's going to be used to get into your high rate of going into Selene, access code for OTK, it just has so much utility. And it's a very, very easy card to be using with Allure of Darkness, which in a particular deck like this, when there are some insanely powerful cards you can't specifically search outright, but you have the ability to stack your deck on a number of bases and then draw into them, this is a very easy banish fodder for the Allure of Darkness. Finishing off on the monsters, we do have the 1 Red Eyes Black Dragon. We are playing Red Eyes Fusion and Verte Anaconda because at the very least, that is a route you want to go into. Keep in mind as well that Verte Anaconda can also help you get into your Quintet, and it can help you get into your other fusion monsters, so it's kind of a staple card in a Dark Magician deck, in my opinion, if you're going a fusion route. Finally, for the monsters, we do play 2 gods. Now, I've kept this Yugi based and gone with 2 Slifer the Sky Dragon. Now, the reason I've gone with Slifer the Sky Dragon in this particular version, not so much just because it's Yugi based as well, but it also has an incredibly powerful effect when you combo it off with Soul Crossing. So, the effect of Slifer is as thus. So it gains 1,000 attack for each card in your hand. If a monster or monsters is normal or special summoned to your opponent's field in attack position, that monster or monsters loses 2,000 attack. Then if its attack has been reduced to 0 as a result, you destroy it. So basically what that means is if your opponent was to special summon technically any kind of level 4 or lower monster that is used to help extend combos, it's gonna get destroyed. Then once they special summon a Link monster that is again, Link 2s are going to be 2,000 or less, they're going to get reduced to 0 and destroyed. So you look at stuff like Tri Brigade. If they were to summon their Link 2 Ferrigy, gets destroyed. If they were to summon the Dragon Lords, gets destroyed. This card is actually insanely powerful, and it really does force your opponent to try and go into battle phase to clear it off, and that's if you don't have a hand. Not to mention that if you then have a Lion in Wait Thunder Force attack set ready to go, you're going to replenish your hand and completely annihilate your opponent's board. Now, your idea is not to just sit on Slifer. The idea is you're going to back Slifer up with hopefully a Dragoon or some of the Dark Magician spells and traps to then utilize Circle as well. On top of that, if you have the ability to refresh your hand using stuff like Soul Servant, using stuff like Allure of Darkness, Pot of Desires, if you wanted to go that route as well, you're going to be able to maintain some decent attack on Slifer. And even if you, that is only if you normal summon it successfully. If you were to special summon it, you still use it the same as Obelisk as a free fodder to link climb higher. A card that I was considering was playing one Slifer and one Ras Fear Mode, because keep in mind with the true name you don't actually have to special summon it. You have the choice to special summon it or add it to your hand. Now the idea of adding it to the hand is if you've got Soul Crossing ready to go. So keep in mind if your opponent does activate the true name and resolve it and they choose to add it to the hand, it does mean that they probably have a Soul Crossing lying in wait ready to tribute off 3 of your monsters during your turn. Other than that, if you went with Ras Fear Mode, it did give you another ability for going second, because you could choose to add that Ras Fear Mode, and after that point where they've let the true name resolve and that happens, they're not going to know you're going to add a Sphere Mode. So you resolve the true name and then you get to add the Divine Monster. So you add the Ras Fear Mode and straight away they're going to go, crap. And you're just going to go, cool, Ras Fear Mode, get rid of your free monsters, whether it be an Appaloosa, a Dragon Lords, and a Shurag, or whether it be an Appaloosa, a Dragon Lords, and any other random monster they've left on their board. You get rid of all of those, and then you have the ability to continue your plays minus your normal summon. But that's where Magician's Souls comes in, Jester Confits comes in, and of course anything else that can help you special summon. So it does give you a lot to play around with. So that's it for the monster lineup. The gods are entirely down to you. If you are not a fan of being Yugi based, or you're not a fan of Slifer, you can of course put in Ra or Obelisk. But to be totally honest, this particular version works best with Slifer in my opinion. Moving on to the spells, triple the true name. I told you guys. I told you. I was playing the true name way before the new god support just because it was a nice free summon and it let you technically add any card that was on the top of your deck to your hand as long as you called it correctly. And when you're looking at stuff like Dark Magical Circle and Soul Servant, which you can also count of having 3 more copies in the form of Magician's Rod, you're going to be consistently able to do that whether you like it or not, and then you're going to be able to go, cool, I'm going to get a free summon or I'm going to get a god to the hand. Now obviously by playing 2 gods and 3 the true name, you are upping the risk of a bit of a brick because the true name can only be activated once a turn. But it can be activated even if you don't have any gods left in the deck, you just don't get to special or add the Divine God. Off of the back of that as well, you can send extra copies to the graveyard from your Soul Servant to draw into the cards. And the cards you're going to be looking to draw into, because they are not searchable as of right now, is 2 Soul Crossing and the 1 Thunder Force Attack. Now, the reason I've gone with a 2 and a 1 is purely because you're only ever really going to resolve this once, maybe twice. So if you wanted to, you could put the true name to 2 and bump the Soul Crossing up to 3. But the way I see it is, even if I don't get anywhere near these cards, the true name is still helping extend my combo, or is actually able to add me any of the cards from the top of the deck to my hand. The Soul Crossing is during the main phase. Immediately after this effect resolves, you get to tribute summon a Divine Beast monster. When you do, you can tribute summon your opponent's monsters as if you controlled them, but for the rest of the turn until the end of the next turn, after this card resolves, you can only activate 1 a card or effect per turn, not including Divine Beasts. Now, keep this in mind. If you were to go activate Soul Crossing, chain Soul Servant, chain Eternal Soul, the chain will resolve backwards, meaning that you've used all of those effects without even coming near Soul Crossing. So that would then mean that rather than you going activating this on resolution, everything happens, you can only activate 1 more effect. So if you choose to activate Eternal Soul, you're not going to be able to trigger that circle because you've already activated that 1 effect. Whereas if you bring the Dark Magician back, it means that once this is resolved, finishing off that turn, clearing off 3 of your opponent's monsters, you then get to resolve Circle to banish 1 of your opponent's cards. That is your 1 effect for that particular turn. Not to mention if you had Dragoon before that, you would use that negate as well. So the Soul Crossing is one of the last cards you want to be using, but it's one of the last cards you want to be using as the first of in a chain that you can build up on, because this effect to limit you doesn't come into play until it's resolved. So if you were to build it up and chain block it in any way, shape or form, that then also gives you the ability to continue to play. It also means that you're going to have a Slifer on the board, so anything that your opponent tries to special summon from that point onwards, after you tribute off their free monsters, is going to be destroyed, and this does not count Divine Beast's effect. Then off of the back of that, it does also mean that if you were to just link off into a boss monster without even wanting to use its effect, so for example going to the BLS Link 3, you then still have the ability of activating Eternal Soul to bring back Dark Magician. Just keep in mind you will not be able to then resolve Circle's Banish, but you would have cleared off plenty of cards from your opponent's board to hopefully swing in for game from that point. The reason I've gone with the one Thunder attack is purely for the fact that it is very specific. You need to have Slifer and it needs to be activated during your opponent's turn in order to get the maximum effect from it. So if you activate it, during your main phase. So if you activate it during your main phase, you get to apply the following effect. You get to draw cards equal to the number of monsters you destroyed with this effect. And this one is if you control Slifer, you get to destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent controls as possible. Now 9 out of 10, if I've got both of these, unless my opponent has 5 monsters on the board, I'm going to be using Soul Crossing to get rid of those 3 monsters, unless they have something that is going to negate something. But if they're going to do something like that, they're probably going to try and stop the True Name. But keep in mind, if they have Appaloosa on board, Appaloosa is not stopping this. You just go this, get rid of Appaloosa, get rid of the Dragon Lords, get rid of another monster, brings down your Slifer the Sky Dragon, and then everything from there is good to go. Even if they do make Shurag, yes, that will give them an issue, but the thing is, I'm not too sure how this would resolve, but I would assume that they would activate the traps, summon everything, and then link them off before Slifer triggers to pop them. So it then means that they've had to use all of their plays to get past Soul Crossing. You've broken their entire board with Soul Crossing and a Slifer. So you would have already activated the True Name. Let's say you activated a Dark Magical Circle. So you've stacked your deck, you've called the True Name correctly, you've added, let's say you add the Soul Crossing, for example, and you add Slifer to the hand. You still have 3 or 4 cards to play around with going second, and you still maintain your normal summon. So you can then still go full combo while breaking probably one of the biggest boards right now in the form of Tri-Zoo, because the Tri-Zoo are going to be sitting on a 3, if not a 4 negate Appaloosa, a Banish of Shurag, and then of course a bounce with the double Dragon Lords, and you've already baited out the Shurag to get rid of your Slifer, otherwise everything they start to summon is going to get destroyed. Moving on to the Domination Spells, Triple Dark Magical Circle. I don't think anyone in their right mind could argue about playing less than 3, especially when you're playing the gods as well. You want to be able to consistently stack your deck as much as possible, and then with Magician Souls in the deck, after you've resolved this, it is free fodder to get rid of whenever you see fit. Triple Soul Servant, make sure you're putting Rod, make sure you're putting Souls to the top of the deck. Heck, you can even put Apprentice to the top of the deck if you want to resolve the Quintet combo. Then, of course, for the one-offs, we do have the one bond between teacher and student. The way I see it is if I'm playing Dark Magician and Gale on the deck, I do play certain criteria that I would absolutely have to play. Bond between teacher and student, 1 Dark Burning Magic, and then there is a trap card that I play as well, which we'll get to later on. But if you're not a fan of these, you can cut them completely. I just want to make sure that me putting Dark Magician Gale into the deck isn't just the fact of, yay, I can send it off as Souls and draw an additional card. It's like, no, if I'm going to do it, I want to have the ability to resolve a bond between teacher or student, and I want to have the ability to also resolve a Dark Burning Magic. Because keep in mind, the bond between teacher and student brings the Dark Magician Girl back from the grave or the deck as well, so it does give you additional plays, and it's 2 monsters on the board, so you get to extend further from that. Plus you get Dark Burning Magic, which is going to go, you know what, I'm going to destroy all cards my opponent controls. We've then, of course, got the 1 Dark Magic Inheritance, because we are playing loads of spells, and especially when we're going to be True Name will end up in the graveyard, Soul Crossing will end up in the graveyard. Dark Magic Inheritance can get you to that Eternal Soul, the Soul Stone, the Dark Magical Circle that you might need. For the other one-offs, we do play 1 Reasoning, because we're playing level 1s, levels 10s, level 7s, level 6s, and level 1s. So, 3, sorry. So you've got a nice free summon there off the back of Reasoning. For our fusion spells, we've got the 1 Searchable Secret of Dark Magic, and then you've got the 2 that you'll be probably going to be using off your Verte Anaconda more times than not. Keep in mind, I also showed you a combo of revolving the Magical Eyes Fusion. If you do get the Dark Magician or the Red Eyes in the hand, or you open up the Red Eyes Fusion, there's still a way of making Dragoon with Magical Eyes Fusion instead. Ultimately, all you need to do is you go Magician Souls, send the Dark Magician, summon the Dark Magician, turn it into Umduct, and then normal summon your Rod, link off the Umduct to go into Verte Anaconda with the Rod, and then you send Magical Eyes Fusion. Yes, you'll only get a 1-pop Dragoon, but it still gives you another ability, because then during the next turn you can activate the Red Eyes Fusion, protect it with the first Dragoon on the board, and give yourself a second Dragoon. The last spell card, we've got double Allure of Darkness. These can be Pot of Desires if you want to, but when you actually look at it, you've got a stack card there, you've got a technical draw card there, you've got a draw card there, and a draw card there. The idea is that you want to be able to search out the Dark Magician pieces as consistently as possible, and then draw into your God pieces again as consistently as possible. Finishing off on the tracks, we've got double Eternal Soul and the One Magician's combination. The way I see it is, again, like I said, if I'm playing a Dark Magician deck with Dark Magician Girl in it, I want to maximise my abilities. And I actually really like this card because it also sends a card if you get to destroy a card non-target if this is sent. So if you use Magician's Souls to send it, you get a draw and you get to destroy a card as well. But I like the idea of bouncing back Dark Magicians, Dark Magician Girls, looping them back and forth in order to kind of negate and disrupt my opponent. It's not as good as it could be, but I still think it's one of them cards that if I'm playing Dark Magician Girl, I kind of want to play it. If you want it to be competitive and you're like, I want droplets in my deck, or I want Dark Rulers, or I want Triple Ash Blossoms, and you've got 1, 2, 3 easy outs and then easy ins. So that's it for the spells and traps, and that is it for the main deck as a whole. Moving on to the extra deck. So, for the extra deck, we have the one, the amazing, Magi. Ah, no. Ah, Konami, when? Just when, please. Hopefully Mega Teams 2021. I don't know. Anyway, back to seriousness for the XYZs. We do play the one, Naruto, the Moral Leader. This is purely just to go into that quintet combo where you use Apprentice plus Dark Magician Girl, go into Naruto, and then you rank on top into Ibon. Ibon then summons out Dark Magician from the deck, and then that gives you your 5 spellcasters because you link Ibon. You turn Dark Magician into Umduct. You link Ibon plus the Dark Magician, Umduct, sorry, into Verte Anaconda, and then Verte Anaconda, send Magicalized Fusion, banish 5 spellcasters, bring out your Mac Daddy, Quintet Magician. I love this card. The artwork's amazing. It is definitely a Dark Magician card, even though it's officially not a Dark Magician card. But if you make it with 5 spellcasters with different names, you get to destroy all cards your opponent controls, and then this face-up card on the field cannot be treated, nor used as fusion material, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects. So it actually outs your opponent's Dragoon like that. So very cool. For the other fusions, we do play the one, Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, and this can be also be a second Dragoon. It's entirely up to you on if you wanted to go that route or not. And the more aggressive one, you go with Dragoon, but because you actually want to protect your Soul Crossing and your Thunder Force, you might actually want to go for a Dragon Knight instead as a second Dragoon. But other than that, there is your second Dragoon, because you are going to be able to naturally make it and make it through Verte as well. And then we've got the Dark Magicians. This is obviously your draw card. You're probably going to go into it less relevant, because the way I see it is, through the routes of play, if you have the ability to go into the Dark Magicians, you've 9 times out of 10 got the ability to go into a Dragoon. And I don't see any kind of scenario where this would be a better option than this. That's just my personal opinion, but that's kind of the route that I would then go. For the Link monsters, we actually play quite a lot of these. So we've got the one Umduct, so this is just to turn your Dark Magician into Umduct. The reason I play this over Link Spider is for the pure factor that you're turning Dark Magician into a dragon by going into Umduct. So that's why you'd want to do it. Yes, one of the arguments is if you get Nibiru'd, you kind of need Link Spider instead of Umduct. And of course, by Link Spider pointing downwards, you've got a little bit more to go off of. But ultimately, as far as I'm concerned, Umduct is the superior option. It just offers so much more to the deck. You shouldn't really be getting Nibiru'd in a Dark Magician deck. It would be very rare. You would have to have shown your opponent a very consistent way of comboing past 5 monsters for them to justify putting a Nibiru in. Like, if I face Dark Magician, there's no way I'd be putting a Nibiru in, because like the most they're going to do is go 1, 2 Verte Dragoon. And it's like, that's only 4 summons. I'm not really getting anywhere from there. And there's better side card options in my opinion. The other Link ones that we play is you can either play Link Kuriboh or Relinquish Anima. That is entirely up to you. The reason you'd go with Link Kuriboh, again, because the zone point's down, and what you would be turning into Link Kuriboh would be a Jester Conflict, or of course would be a Magician's Souls. But you can do the exact same for Relinquish Anima. The only difference with Anima is it is also a spellcaster, so you do get that ability to help consistently get into Quintet. But you've got the more defensive option and the more aggressive option. And the idea is that through your Celine combo, you want to make sure you have as many attributes in the graveyard for your access code as possible. So throughout the combo building up, you can actually go into Relinquish Anima and then make Celine. And then that puts a dark in the graveyard. Celine is a light. You bring back the Dark Magician, you turn it into an Umduct. You then have a light, a dark, and an light, dark, and wind in the graveyard ready to go for your access code play. For the other Link 2s, we've got the one IP Masquerena. This is just for the generic Link 2 because ultimately what you want to do is you want to use IP Masquerena to get into your BLS Soldier of Chaos. You're playing the gods, whether you're special summoning out Slifer or whether you're going to normal summon him during the next turn. There are some times where you need to link him off. So you link off into the BLS, and it's just giving you another way to make a near enough indestructible BLS. And if you go into IP Masquerena before that, it's 9 times as harder for them to get rid of the BLS themselves as well. So that's kind of what you want to do, is you want to make it as difficult as possible for your opponent to kind of deal with it. Then, of course, the Link one that I did miss out was the Artemis. Again, Artemis, the reason behind this is because if you were to go Rod and Souls, then you could go Souls into Link Kuriboh, Rod into Artemis, and go through that way. This isn't a necessity. You can take it out if you want to. It is entirely up to you on the route you'd want to go with that, and kind of build from there. And like I said, I'm going to show you 17 cards in the extra deck, and then it comes down to personal preference of the ones, and I'm just showing you the options next to each other. We've then got Phoenix as another Link monster to put an attribute in the graveyard, but also to deal with pesky back row. Of course, you do have the Verte Anaconda alongside a Selene, and then your boss monster of Access Code. Now, I know this is crazy high right now. Thank you, Salamangrates. If you don't have an Access Code, you can go into an Avramax, which can be a little bit more difficult to deal with just because it is more defensive, but it won't be an out-and-out blowout like Access Code is. So it is something you need to keep in mind. You'd still make the exact same combo, still make Selene, Selene brings back Dark Magician, turns it into Umduct, but in this particular combo you can also go into, bring back a Rod or a Souls and go into an Artemis or a Relinquish Anima or a Link Kuriboh and still get the same outcome of having a Avramax. So entirely up to you. So throughout this entire list, it's up to you whether you want to play a Second Dragoon or a Dark Magicians, a Link Kuriboh or a Relinquish Anima. You could arguably as well choose not to play the Artemis and take Artemis out to fill in the spaces for one of these on top of that. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Very straightforward, very, very simple for the deck to kind of put together. There are cards in here that I would say if you go, right, I want to make my Dark Magician deck as competitive as possible, you'd probably drop a couple of cards like these because they're more of a niche tech to kind of get you where you need to go, but still very, very good and powerful. And at the end of the day, I have no quarrels about updating a Dark Magician deck whenever I get the chance to as well. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. If this video gets at least 50 likes, I'll do like a test time video or I'll show you some combos. I'll merge all of the combos for this particular deck into one video for you guys, so you can kind of use that as a tutorial guide to go from there. But that will all come from the appreciation of you smashing that like button for this particular video. But as absolutely always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and, of course, happy dueling. Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to yourplaymat.com where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from yourplaymat.com.